You're listening to Pyro Media Network, setting radios ablaze since 2017.
Words have power. They shape our memories and protect our legacy. In law, they determine the terms and conditions, and in marriage, they lay the foundation to our covenant. In friendship, they can make or break boundaries or help find bonds that will last a lifetime. Words have the power to frame how we see ourselves, how others see us, and how we see ourselves. Welcome to Put It in the Manual. I'm Fallon Vaughn, a woman first and foremost, a wife, an attorney, a writer, a daughter, a sister, a friend, but most importantly, I am the one who is putting all these words in the manual. Through the course of our acquaintance, you will hear me say that often. Words have power, but that is something that I fiercely believe, and this is why I am putting them in the manual. I have been through so many iterations of myself. I feel like I've lived several lifetimes since the last time I was on the air or sharing content with the people. I feel like life has come at me fast, life has come at me hard. And I just sat down one day and said, you know what, Fallon, you really need to take all these lessons that you've learned and put it in a manual because even if you don't need it, somebody else may be. So that is why we're here. That is why we are putting it in the manual. I'm excited. I'll say I'm kind of nervous, but I really just want to take this chance to solidify not only my legacy on what I've learned and what I've been doing and kind of all the things I've acquired in this life of mine, but I want to put it down on paper, metaphorically, and in reality. I just want to have something tangible, something that I can refer to, something that I can refer others to, something that I could just see growing and changing and kind of shifting the mindset, not only for me, but for the people as well. So I'll say it again, words have power, and this is where you'll come to see all these words that I'm putting down, that I'm putting out there into the universe, that I'm giving power to. I'm excited, and I hope that you are as well to take this journey with me. First, I want to go through the rules, and they're not too many, but they do have meaning. The first rule is everything we say here doesn't have to stay here. I kind of want to take the things that I've learned in my life and give them to the people. I want them to continue living beyond me. I want them to go far and wide beyond my friend group, beyond the people that I meet, beyond my circle. I just really want these conversations that we're going to have and these lessons that I'm going to share with you to just be long lasting. I always say, and me and my friends say this all the time, that we wish there was some type of manual somewhere that someone would have gave us the game plan or clued us in on how we needed to be handling certain situations. And that could be anywhere from dealing with parents, dealing with friendship, work, boundaries, like all these different topics that it would have been so much easier if someone had just put it in the manual. I want to start off with that rule. I think that's the most important one because so many conversations could be had, but oftentimes people are afraid to have them. We gatekeep, we keep things to ourselves. We think that the conversations are silly or stupid, and we don't want to ask the questions out loud. So I really just want to give us a space to come together and discuss all those things without feeling as if there's judgment or somebody else criticizing you for even having the feelings. Like, we really need to get over that, and I'm excited to put that all down for you. The second rule, I don't think there is one. I said there were rules, but I really don't think there need to be. The only rule that I'm giving us, secondly, is that we got to keep having conversations. We got to keep putting things in the manual. We got to keep growing together, learning together, vibing together, and really getting better together. That's all we have in this life: community, each other. And if someone didn't get that lesson the first time around, I think it's great to have a place that they could go to get it that second time. And hopefully it won't be that hard. Hopefully it'll be easier to get it when you see it coming from somewhere else, from somebody who's already lived it. Oh, the rules. I'll say that I didn't have many, but as I'm having this conversation, I feel like there needs to be more. Like, how can you be an attorney without having too many boundaries or too many rules or too many terms and conditions on what needs to happen? Well, I'll say that I'm not necessarily that stereotypical attorney that one would imagine when they go down the Rolodex of famous lady lawyers on TV. Anytime someone says attorneys, a black woman attorney at that, you think of like the top three: your Claire Huxtables, your Jax from Reasonable Doubt. You might think of your Freddie Brooks after she determined that she wanted to be a lawyer. Some might even think of Maxine Shaw. Well, right here you have Fallon Vaughn, and she is not your typical. I don't necessarily come from a background where I grew up in a family of attorneys. I'm the first attorney in my family, the first to go to law school, the first to go out on this journey of advocating for others, fighting for others, giving others justice. It's just me. So I didn't have a playbook. I didn't have the connections. I didn't have the mentors to call on. I didn't have a family member or someone who already knew the ropes of things. I just had me. And my journey probably was not like you'd imagine. I went to law school in Houston where I grew up, and I went to a HBCU, deep in the trenches with my HBCU life. I graduated from an HBCU for undergrad in Louisiana as well, and decided to come back home to Houston to basically avoid those out of state fees. I also wanted to make sure that I gave myself the opportunity to get away from my friends and the fun that was my undergraduate experience. I know I needed to be close to home because I was setting out on an adventure that no one had been in my family. I didn't have anybody to call on and figure things out. So I figured being close to home probably would have been the best decision for me. So I'm glad that I made that decision to come back home to Houston. I didn't know that you couldn't work full time when it was time to go to law school. I didn't know that I'd be struggling to study and make that jump to get back current in the books, even though I didn't take that long between when I graduated law school from undergrad to go to law school. I kind of had like a summer to get myself together, and unfortunately, I don't think I was one of those people who was in the books hardcore trying to get myself together. So I went to law school with that idea that, life had been easy in undergrad and in school and just growing up. I figured that it would be the same going to law school. And unfortunately, I had that good reality check real quick. So I was not at the top of my class. I was not that person that was in the library constantly 24/7. And I'll be honest, I was vibing. I was having fun. I was doing my thing and almost pretending as if law school was a continuation of undergrad. And yeah, no, that was not the best idea. I had fun and I got my act together real quick when I realized that law school was not going to be a cakewalk. But your girl did end up not at the top of her class. So I made sure that I took every other opportunity that came in front of me at that point. I volunteered everywhere. I worked all types of jobs. I interned. I did all these things. I ran organizations. I made sure that I kept myself in the mix to kind of make up for where I didn't jump in the trenches with my studying. And that kind of transformed my identity into someone who not only learned about hustling, but kind of deeply entrenched myself into hustle culture. I knew that I had to hustle in order to make it, and that's just what I did. So my mentality was a little different. My drive to be successful was different. And I just feel like I was just different. Law school, I had friends, I had fun, but I don't feel like I fit that mold of the stereotypical lawyer. You can catch me slipping into slang at any given day of the week. You can catch me daydreaming. You can catch me fantasizing about a good frolic or being anywhere else at any given moment. I don't know. It's hard to put myself in a category, but I feel like that varied experience kind of shaped who I am today. Now that I am an attorney, I help people. That's my job. I'm a legal aid attorney, and for those who aren't familiar with that, a legal aid attorney is somebody who helps individuals who may or may not be having the best luck affording counsel. Most of my clients are living at or below the federal poverty guideline, which is the numerical number that they put on people to kind of classify what things they can afford in life. And that scale in the greater reality of things can vary, but what it looks like is giving help to those who ordinarily don't have access to justice. I think for me, that's the perfect job because I don't come from a family that's super rich. I grew up in Houston. I grew up in an area that you kind of saw things from both sides of the tracks. It gave me perspective. It gave me, I guess, a little bit more relatability. So when I practice law now, I take that with me. I see my clients, I see myself in them. I see what I could have been. I see the life that others could have if they don't make the right decisions on things. And I kind of take that with me everywhere I go. I try not to judge people. I try not to look at people as a result of their circumstances. My family probably says I am a little jaded just because I give it to you hard and raw most times. My rose colored glasses are not that rosy. But yeah, I see life differently. And I think that kind of makes me that different type of attorney, one you can call on, one you can talk to, one you can trust, one you can not only pour out your heart to, but also get some empathy and some love in return. I think that's important to me. I think that's important to my identity. I think that's important to the manual because that gives me the unique perspective of knowing that everybody's not the same, knowing that problems happen, people happen, life happens, and I can talk to you. I can hear you out. I can see what you see just based off of my experience. And I kind of want to take that energy into everything that I do. I can't say that I know everything, but I do know a lot. And when I'm not practicing law or advocating for others or helping people, I lean into those other roles. I don't know if I listed daughter or sister or friend when I rolled through my biography, but I've been all of those things for quite some time now. I think the second thing I said was I was a woman or a wife, which also shapes my identity. I wasn't always a wife. I've been a woman for a long time, a black woman, but the journey of becoming one with another person, I think that gives me also a little credibility to talk on relationships, things that went wrong, things that went right for me, signs that I ignored, situations that I probably should not have been in, situations that I probably was in and thought that they probably were right for me at that time. But most times I feel like I always had that a voice on my side, the good angel and the bad angel, as people like to say it. I might have ignored them, but I did a lot of living. I feel like that just gives me a lot of know-how when it comes to hearing things and knowing if they seem right, if they feel right, my intuitiveness, just knowing that it took a lot for me to get to this point to be right for my husband. Uh, It's just that's an identity all in of itself. Being a married woman, allowing yourself to grow and change and listen to someone else, listen to what benefits the best of you, because that is one thing that you really have to think about. I didn't know it then when I was just a woman, single, navigating life and dating and trying to figure things out. But after these almost 4 years of being his wife, I do feel like I'm a little bit more aware of the ways of the world and women and men and how we deal with each other, misconceptions, the things that we don't know, the things that only they could teach us. I have that inside opinion just because I have stepped into that role as a wife. And words have power, even with that, with your relationships, what you tell yourself, what you let others tell you about who you are and who you can be. All of that will be in the manual. My family, my friends, lineage, family. I wanted something that I could make last forever. I haven't been blessed with a child. And honestly, sometimes at this big age of 44, I don't know what God has in store for me and my husband. I was a fur baby mama until my husband came into my life and welcomed my puppy with open arms. I've been someone who's experienced loss, and that's a whole nother story, a whole nother chapter in the manual that we'll explore together. But the friendships, the seasons, the loves, the losses, these are all things that are important to me. I want to talk about families. I want to talk about watching our parents grow up. I want to talk about losing a parent, how it shapes you, things you could do, how you can preserve your legacy, not only by the legal remedies, but the stories, the storytelling, the preserving things, the keeping cultures alive, keeping stories alive, just basically having something that outlives you, basically. I wanted something that I knew, regardless of where I was in this world, who I touched or didn't touch. My words had some type of power. My thoughts are all written down somewhere. They're all categorized and captured in this stratosphere, just out here in the atmosphere. Everything that I wanted to leave behind that is a piece of me, my knowledge, my advice, my counsel. I just wanted to put it in the manual. And yeah, that's what we're going to get here. I'm excited to share these things with everyone, and I really hope that everyone is excited to take their journey with me. Oh, what can y'all expect? There's always a ask. I feel like in this life, just to grab people's attention, you have to put on the bells and whistles. Sometimes you gotta dance, you gotta shimmy and shake a little bit. And I hope that the people realize that to make an impact, you don't always necessarily have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't even have to be the prettiest person in the room. But to leave just a lasting impact, to make a statement, to make something worthwhile that grabs people's attention, you just gotta take 2 seconds just to draw people in. I've had people tell me that I should be doing so many things like, oh, Fallon, you need to be writing more, you need to be reading more, you need to be speaking more, capturing it all, the content, doing this, doing that. And I tried. I can't even say that I've not dabbled in a lot of things, and I have. But ultimately, I've been torn. I've been pulled in so many directions that I'm looking for my niche. I'm looking for that one thing that I need to do. And honestly, this project just kind of kept calling to me. I kept thinking about a way that I could preserve my stories, that I could preserve my thoughts, preserve my wisdom, And I just kept saying, like, man, I wish there was some kind of manual. Why didn't the people get a manual? I wanted to know why. God just put us out here and we're just all willy nilly and free balling out here. Life is just lifing, and nobody thought, like, bro, like, why do we not have a manual? I could have used a manual when I was watching my father deal with his disease that ultimately took his life. I needed a manual during that first heartbreak season. I probably needed a manual on how to get married and not deal with outside noise from just the world telling me what my marriage should look like or what my wedding was supposed to be like or all these different things. Like, I just kept yearning for something to be there. And after you just kind of talk about it so much, at some point, you either just got to put pen to paper or you got to reach out to the homies who have access or the know how to put things out there. And sometimes you just got to make a manual. And we're here, we're doing it. You're on this journey with me. And I'm excited and hoping that you'll take something from it. Probably said excited a million times, but I am. I really am. It's like that quiet consistency of saying something, just repeating it, wanting it, looking for it, yearning for it, wishing for it. And then finally it's here. I talked about it so much that I almost talked myself into a frenzy where I was scared, like, oh my God, you can't do this. You've done this before. You could never do it by yourself. Nobody's gonna want to hear this. Like, what are you doing? And that doubt, that just constant self-doubt was kind of creeping in. And it's like, Fallon, get it together. And as my husband always tells me, girl, you a bad bitch. Do what you do. It's time to start believing that. And I'm using my words to not only convince myself that I am indeed ready for whatever challenge that I see before me, but also you, because I want everybody to be great. I want the people that I'm around to be great. I want little black girls growing up on the north side of Houston, Texas, in acres homes, wondering where life is going to take them. I want them to know that you too can be out here living the dream, doing what you want to do, chasing your dreams, making them reality. And it's going to be somebody there. You may not know them now or you may not recognize them on the street, but they're going to make an impact. They'll have something to tell you. And along the way, you'll go put that in your own personal manual and run with it. Go with it from there. So that's what we're doing. We're putting it in the manual. We are not about perfection, but kind of more so about alignment. And I felt like this was the time. I have the support, the momentum, the love I need, and just so much has happened. Like, life has really been happening, and I think all of those things have been the driving factor of me wanting to do something like this or even put this project together. Life has really been life and throwing some curveballs, things that I wouldn't have expected. And Lord knows it would have been so much easier to face them had I had a manual. But not to be redundant, y'all get used to it. You'll get used to me. You'll get to learning. You'll get used to my Fallonisms, as my husband likes to call them. And for those that know me, you'll either learn something you didn't know before, or you'll get some confirmation on things that you may have thought you knew about and might have been right about. So, take that journey with me. I'm excited again. So excited. Yo soy muy excited. And I'm ready. Ready to give you a little piece of myself. And hopefully, as this season goes on, you'll give a little piece of yourself to me too. I want to create a community where people are learning together and growing together and just leveling up. Like, this should feel like you got your favorite book and you are chilling in your freshest of pajamas on your couch, cozy and comfortable, having a secret conversation with your homegirl that you might not see all the time, but you know she's always there. You know that you can call her. You can ask her those questions that you're afraid to ask anyone else. You can send her that picture or something that you don't want to share with the world, and she won't hit you with the judgment. She'll just look at it and, scroll through it and give her opinion and keep it moving. And that's the energy that I'm going for. I'm ready to move with clarity and not confusion. And I feel like if that's what you're on right now, then you are definitely in the right place. Building something intentional, something where I'm prioritizing betterment, making each other better. So that's my call to my audience. I want you to know that you're here, and when you leave, you'll be a little bit better. You'll be entertained, hopefully inspired, hopefully enlightened, and ready to work on your own legacy project. Put things in your own manual.
This episode is brought to you by Pyro Media Network, produced by Pyro Media Productions, setting brands ablaze since 2017. Thank you for listening.